Welcome to Americana Archives. Today's headline is Peril of the Depths. The subheadline is a startling episode of Miner's life. This originally came from the Eureka Leader. It says, Tuesday afternoon, an accident occurred in the Connolly mine on the east slope of Prospect Mountain, which came near causing the death of 5 miners, and had it not been for the strenuous exertions and cool judgment of Foreman Robinson, there is not a doubt but that 2 or more lives would have been lost. The foremen at work in the connecting drift between the main drift on the 316 level and the Windsor from the 212 had about 8 feet to make to effect the connection, and were anxious to perfect the same before night, that they might be on hand in time for Christmas festivities. It was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and some 2 or 3 feet yet remained to be gone through ere the desired end was gained. Owing to the nature of the rock, the blast had been rather ineffectual, only tearing away a small space around the cap. The boys grew impatient at the slow progress made, and a keg of giant powder was put in, and warning given to the 2 boys on the other side to seek a place of safety, which they found near the first station above. The fuse was lighted, and a terrific explosion followed, so effectual in its work that a small hole was made through the face. After the echoes of the blast had ceased to vibrate through the mine, the 2 men above, intent on seeing the extent of the blast, hastened back, but on nearing the spot they had so recently quitted, were so overcome with the foul gas generated by the giant powder that they again faced about and tried to go up the Windsor. Only a few feet they had made when each dropped, and as they were sinking into unconsciousness, used their remaining strength in calling for assistance. The 2 men who had set the blast heard their cry and started to their aid, but as the connection was so small, they had to go to the main shaft, ascend by the skip, and go down through the Windsor from the 216 level. On nearing the bottom of the Windsor, and before reaching the 2 other men, the current of foul gas was so great that they had to retrace their steps, one of them falling, completely overcome, when near the first station below the 216 level, when the other man reached the level. Some time elapsed before those on top learned of the danger that was imperiling the lives of their comrades, but the moment it was known, Mr. Robinson and assistants started to their rescue. Going down the Windsor, Dave Slatter was found at the station half unconscious. He was rubbed, rum poured between his lips, and a faint life restored to his body. One of the relieving party even fell a victim and made for the top, falling insensible before reaching it. Slatter was put into the tub and hoisted to the 216 level, by which time all were more or less affected with the gas, with the exception of Foreman Robinson, and he, by the most heroic efforts, succeeded in lifting, dragging, and hoisting the men out of the dangerous Windsor and up to the level above. 5 insensible men were scattered out on the floor of the drift, utterly unconscious and seemingly dead. Robinson was well nigh exhausted, but still kept at his work, pouring the spirits down their throats, rubbing them, and otherwise adding to the flickering spark of life that still lingered in the inanimate forms. Happily, his extemporized remedies were successful, and he had the satisfaction of seeing them gradually revive. The scene now was almost as ludicrous as it had been serious. The men acted as if under the influence of laughing gas, and their mutterings and contortions would have been amusing had it not been for the species of danger intermixed. Pat McGinnis, one of the aiding party who had succumbed, was taken with convulsions and had a series of spasms until yesterday evening, but is out of danger at the present writing. The rest of the boys are doing well, and the majority have returned to their work. A mistaken notion prevailed on the streets that foul air had occasioned the accident, but the above statement will be found correct in the main. It was caused, as already stated, from a heavy charge of powder, the gas so generated being carried up the Windsor by the current of air coming down the shaft. The connection from the Windsor to the 316 level is very complete and on an airline, and foul air had nothing to do with the accident, which came so near resulting in the death of 2 or more men. Too much praise cannot be accorded to Mr. Tom Robinson and those who aided him, hazarding their own lives to save those of their comrades. This story comes from the great state of Alabama, being reported in the Patriot of January 18th, 1879. Thank you for joining us today. If you want to continue to uncover all of America's lost and forgotten history, then remember before you leave to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and remember to like and comment below. And we will see you next time on Americana Archives.